Paul, yes. I was just reading this Smithsonian December 2016, a little ballad, American ballad. Yes. Found workers singing the old song of struggle and hard times with a modern twist. Yes. Now I know all of those Americans. Yes. That are not rich sheriffs or police officers. Oh, that live in places and actually do labor for $9 an hour when the state minimum wage is $10 an hour. Yes. I thought the minimum wage was the minimum wage. Page 68 of the Smithsonian. Yes. I'm a little concerned because as I was reading it, 25% of America's food supply is grown in one location. And for some dumb fucking reason, there are individuals that think that they can violate the minimum wage of the United States of America. Now, I know it's difficult growing agricultural products in California. And there wasn't a sheriff in California, there wasn't a police officer that didn't realize that those that have the land that employ Americans, right, because they're Americans, unless, of course, you can prove that they're not. Ooch. They wouldn't enforce the minimum wage laws. Why don't you, because it says here a state minimum wage is $10 in 2016. It might even be more than that now, but they won't pay more than $9. Now, as an American citizen, when you make the law look bad because police and sheriffs just don't want the problems of enforcing the minimum wage laws, is it possible that you thought you didn't have jurisdiction to enforce the state guidelines for, well, they're known as felonies and misdemeanors. Oh, why doesn't everybody get a copy of each and every state's guidelines that defines each and every felony of every state of the United States? And then why don't some sheriffs and police officers decide to make the law look good? Now, I was reading this, yes, and these undocumented workers, yes, there must be some documented employers. Shoot. Now maybe we're spending too much time looking at the undocumented employees, not enough time looking at the documented employers. Now let's change our our view, right? The perspective. We're just going to shift directions. It's not that I'm as upset about the undocumented workers as I am about the undocumented employers. Poo poo. Now, if you can get a job working in agriculture, yes. Um, if you can do that, I would expect that every person that is a documented employer of the America's food supply, yes, will pay minimum wage for every fucking employee right now. Every employee. You will never make the minimum wage laws look bad. Now, as I said, okay, undocumented workers, if you're not getting minimum wage, ooch, then the documented employers are violating the laws. Now, we've really been picking on, haven't we? Those that are poor. The official U.S. poverty level is annual income below $11,880 for a single person. I don't think I made $11,880 since 2007. Pooch, 11 years ago. Oh. And for a household of four, it's $24,300. Now, that means that 13.5% of the population, 43 million Americans, and we'll call them Americans just because it's simpler. Yes, according to U.S. Census. Now, why don't we focus on the documented employers? Pooch. We can shift right now. Now, for every individual that is, well, responsible for the food supply of the nation, yes, yes, yes. See, it says 20,000 square miles in California's Central Valley. Yes. Some 250 crops are grown. One quarter of America's food, 2 billion pounds of shelled nuts annually, 30 billion pounds of tomatoes. You would think a tomato would take quite a bit of water to grow. Now, some fucking dickhead seems to think that the impoverished, undocumented worker is a more important arrest than the an enriched minimum wage violator known as the employee of the United States. Now we've somehow given our food supply right to those that just cannot see the importance of minimum wage. Now I'm going to sue every fucking one of them because as an American citizen, ooh, when one quarter of my food, my personal food, yes, is in the hands, yes, of those that don't respect the minimum wage of this great nation, because I gotta talk to you.